You're 3 days away from payday. You've got $47 in your account, and instead of being careful, you just ordered takeout for $35. Again, you know it's stupid. You literally said, "This is stupid," while you were doing it, but you hit confirm anyway. And here's the really weird part. The closer you get to zero, the faster you spend, like your brain's trying to finish the job. There's a specific reason you do this, and it's not weakness, it's not lack of discipline. Your brain is running a program that actively sabotages you the moment you start making progress. And once you see what that program is, the whole pattern makes sense. You're looking at your bank account the morning after. $12.47 left. Payday was 4 days ago. You had $800 and you can account for maybe $400 of where it went. The rest, it just disappeared. Rent, groceries, gas, yeah, those are there. But there's this 300-something gap that feels like a black hole. And the worst part? You remember the exact moment you stopped caring. It was day 2. You were at the gas station already $200 down and you thought, screw it, and grabbed the energy drink and the overpriced sandwich. Like if you were already losing, you might as well lose completely. Real quick, if I just described your last paycheck, hit subscribe, because we're about to pull apart why your brain does this. So here's what's actually going on, and I need you to understand this isn't about discipline. It's not about willpower. You're not weak. You're experiencing something psychologists call the what the hell effect. But that name makes it sound way simpler than it is, because what's happening in your brain when you sabotage yourself financially is the same mechanism that makes people eat the entire pizza after they break their diet. It's the same thing that makes you stay up until 3 a.m. when you've already ruined your sleep schedule. Your brain has this bizarre program where once you perceive you've failed, it actively pushes you to fail harder, not a little bit harder, catastrophically harder. Here's where it gets interesting. The trigger isn't actually being broke. It's the moment you feel like you've lost control. Watch what happens. You get paid, you've got plans, you're gonna be responsible this time. Then something unexpected hits. Car trouble, $150, or you forget about that subscription, $50. Or you miscalculate and rent hits different than you thought. Doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that moment when your mental budget breaks, when the plan falls apart. That's the trigger. That's when your brain shifts from protect the money mode to burn it down mode, and it happens fast. Stay with me because this next part changes everything. Your brain doesn't see that $650 you have left is $650. Once the plan breaks, it sees it as already lost. It's running the logic. We failed. The money's going to disappear anyway. At least if we spend it, we get something out of it. It's the same reason people in debt sometimes make their debt worse by spending more. Their brain has already categorized that money as gone. So spending it doesn't feel like losing, it feels like getting something before it vanishes. Let me show you how this plays out in different contexts, because once you see the pattern, you'll see it everywhere. Example 1, you're trying to save. You've got $400 in savings, first time in months. Then your friend's birthday dinner comes up, $60, not terrible, but it breaks your streak you haven't added to savings this week. And instead of thinking, okay, $60 I'll recover, your brain goes, well, savings is ruined, and by the end of the week, you've pulled another $100 for random stuff because what's the point now? Example 2, you set a spending limit for the weekend, $80. Friday night, you're at the bar, you're at $73, and someone suggests one more round. You know if you stay, you're going over. And here's the thing, most people stay, not because they want the drink that badly, but because once they've gotten close to the limit, their brain treats it like it's already broken. May as well make it worth it. Example 3, you're doing good, like actually good. 2 weeks of being careful. Then you see your account and realize you forgot about that auto pay. $45 gone that you didn't plan for. And suddenly you're ordering delivery that night. Not because you're hungry, because you're mad, because careful didn't matter, because the universe took it anyway. So you might as well take something back every time. Same pattern, different excuse. Drop a comment if you're realizing something right now. Seriously, I want to know what just clicked. So why would your brain do something that clearly doesn't work? Let me walk you through the logic here, because there is logic, it's just operating on faulty premises. Your brain evolved in an environment of scarcity, genuine, life-threatening scarcity. And in that environment, there was no such thing as saving for later the way we think about it now. If you had food and you didn't eat it, something else would. If you had resources and you didn't use them, they'd be taken or they'd spoil. So the brain developed a simple program. When you have it, use it. When you're losing, get what you can before it's gone. That program worked for 200,000 years. It kept our ancestors alive. But now you're trying to save money in a checking account while your brain is running software designed for a world where storing grain meant it would rot or get stolen. Your brain sees your bank account like it's a piece of meat sitting in the sun. Use it or lose it isn't just a saying. It's literally your brain's operating system. And here's what your brain thinks is happening versus what's actually happening. Your brain perceives payday as a resource windfall, like finding a dead animal when you're hunting. It's abundant, but it's temporary. So there's this urgency to extract value before it disappears, which is why day 1, day 2 of having money, you spend the most. Not on big things necessarily, on small things, on things you don't need but your brain categorizes as might as well get it while we have it. Then, and this is crucial, the moment you perceive scarcity returning, your brain doesn't switch to conservation mode. It switches to we're already losing, grab what we can mode. It's trying to protect you. It's just using logic from 50,000 BC to solve a 2025 problem. Here's another way to look at this. What if the sabotage isn't the problem? What if the sabotage is your brain's solution to a different problem entirely? Think about it. When you burn through your money, in 3 days you create certainty. Chaotic, painful certainty, but certainty nonetheless. You know exactly where you stand. You're broke. There's clarity in that. No more mental math. No more anxiety about whether you're spending too much. You've already spent it. The decision's made. Compare that to the alternative. Having money, but being terrified to spend it. Constantly calculating, constantly anxious, never knowing if this purchase is the one that tips you over. That's psychological torture. And your brain, in its deeply flawed wisdom, sometimes chooses the certainty of being broke over the anxiety of trying to manage. I know how that sounds. But check your own experience. Aren't you sometimes almost relieved when the money's gone? When the check engine light comes on and takes the last $200 and now you don't have to decide anymore? That relief, that's your brain escaping the cognitive load of financial uncertainty. It would rather have zero and know it than have some and worry about it. The self-sabotage isn't irrational, it's your brain solving for the wrong variable. You want financial stability. Your brain wants immediate psychological relief, and it's willing to trade your future for your present mental state. If this just changed how you see this whole thing, do me a favor and hit like so more people can have this same realization. All right, so how do we actually fix this? And I'm not going to insult you with just budget better, because you know how to budget. The issue isn't knowledge, it's that your brain is running a program that actively fights the budget the moment things feel uncertain. Here's step 1, and this is the crucial part because it targets the actual trigger. You need to redefine what breaking the plan means. Right now, your brain treats any deviation as complete failure. $50 over, failed. Unexpected expense, failed. And once it categorizes the situation as failed, it opens the floodgates. So the first intervention is building in buffer as part of the plan, not extra money in case, actual planned flexibility. Call it the uncertainty fund or whatever. But $100, $150 that's specifically designated for the plan breaking, because the plan will break. Something unexpected will always happen. And if you've planned for the plan to break, then when it does, your brain doesn't interpret it as failure. It interprets it as the plan working. Now here's what makes this actually work. You need a circuit breaker, a specific action that interrupts the screw it spiral the moment you feel it starting. For most people, that moment is visceral. You feel it in your chest, that what's the point feeling, that's your signal. And the intervention isn't don't spend. That won't work. Your brain's already in burn mode. The intervention is a 24-hour delay on any non-essential purchase over $20, not forever, just 24 hours. Give your brain time to shift out of scarcity panic back to rational mode. Most of the sabotage spending happens in that first emotional wave. If you can interrupt that even once, you break the pattern's momentum. The key is timing. You have to catch it when you feel the shift, not after you've already spent $100. It's the moment when careful stops mattering to you emotionally. That's your intervention point. Third step, you need to externalize the proof of progress. Your brain doesn't believe in money. It can't see. That's why savings accounts don't feel real. That's why the number in your app doesn't stop the spending. So make it physical. Doesn't matter how some people do a jar, some people do a chart on the wall, some people literally print out their bank statement and highlight what's still there. The medium doesn't matter. What matters is that your brain gets visual external confirmation that the money still exists, that you haven't already lost. Because remember, the sabotage starts when your brain perceives the money as already gone. If you can make it visible, you interrupt that perception. So look, here's where you are right now. Two paths. Path A, you keep running this program. Every paycheck, same cycle. 3 days of having it, 11 days of being broke. Repeat until something breaks. Car doesn't start, medical thing something. And then it's not just broke, it's debt, it's borrowing. It's that thing where 5 years from now, you're making more money than you are today, but you feel exactly the same. Because the pattern scales with income. You make more, your brain finds new ways to burn through it at the same rate. I've seen people do this at 30K. I've seen people do this at 150K. The number changes, the pattern doesn't. Path B, you interrupt it, not perfectly, not immediately, but you catch it once. You feel that screw it moment and you don't act on it. You wait 24 hours and maybe you still buy the thing, but maybe you don't. And the next time it's a little easier to catch. And 6 months from now, you're not perfect, but you got $800 in your account on day 11 instead of 12. And that $800 starts doing something your brain actually believes in. It starts proving that having money is possible, that you're not cursed, that the money doesn't just evaporate, and your brain starts running a different program, slowly. But it starts. Both paths are available to you right now today, this afternoon, the next time you get paid. Look, this isn't easy, and I'm not going to pretend it is. Your brain is running a 200,000-year-old program designed to keep you alive in a world that doesn't exist anymore. That's a real problem. But here's what's actually true. The pattern feels automatic because you've never seen the mechanism. You thought it was you being undisciplined. You thought it was you being bad with money. But it's not. It's your brain trying to protect you using tools that don't work anymore. Maybe the problem was never that you're bad with money. Maybe the problem is you've been trying to fight biology with willpower, and that's a fight you'll lose every time. The program's gonna run. The question is whether you're gonna let it run you.